Hi friends, welcome back to Wikipedia World. Today we will start a new topic of discussion in electric current, and that will be how is the power transmitted and the ring system that is used in the house. To begin with, our discussion will focus on the transmission of power through large distances from the power plant to the consumer. Then we will see how exactly is the power distributed at the consumer's end in the house, the important components of it, and finally we will see the most popular system, that is the ring system for power distribution, and what are its advantages and why is it used over any other system. So let's start with our discussion. Let us discuss in details how the transmission of electricity takes place, starting from the power station where the power is generated to the end user, that is the consumer. Now, as you might be knowing, that the power stations are normally located far away from where they will actually be used by the consumer. So the electricity needs to be transported through large distances in order to be used by consumer. So to start with, we have what is known as the power station. They are the location where the power is generated. It might be a hydroelectric power station where flowing water source, maybe a river or a waterfall, is used to generate power, or it may be a different power station, maybe a nuclear power station, or alternative wind sources might be used as a power station. Normally what happens is that at the power station the power is generated at around 11,000 volts. Okay, why such a high value of 11,000 volts? The thing is that we cannot go higher than 11,000 volts. If we go higher than 11,000 volts, then there might be problems with insulation, and that might lead to breakdown of the systems at use in power station. Okay, and that is why it is not more than 11 kilovolt. But why is it at 11 kilovolt? Why not lesser values? As we will see that transmission of electric current at higher voltage has added bonus. The bonus being that higher the voltage of transmission, lesser will be the loss of electric current via resistance. Now to understand that, we have read about Joule's heating effect. There we read that the energy loss due to heating is given by, let me represent it by H, is equal to I square RT. Okay, now this represents that the heat loss is proportional to the resistance of the wire carrying the current, the time for which the current is being carried, and the current value of the current which is being carried, square of that. Now since the wire that is being used for transmission is a standard thing, the resistance remains unchanged, the time for transmission remains unchanged. Therefore the heat loss during transmission will be proportional to current square. Therefore the larger the current flowing through the wires, more will be the heat loss. So we would like to have a lower current. Now how can we lower the current? Now we know the relation between power and voltage and current, that is power is given by V times I. Okay, so from here we can see that since the power is constant, that is the amount of energy produced per second by the power station is a constant value. Therefore increasing the voltage, if voltage is increased, current will decrease, because power is the product of voltage and current. Therefore what we can say is the heat loss is inversely proportional to the voltage square. Therefore higher the voltage at which the current is carried through the wires, lower will be the heat loss. This fundamental concept that heat loss will be inversely proportional to voltage square is used, and therefore the current is carried from the power station to the other stations at a much higher voltage, thereby reducing the loss of current by heat. Now we saw that at the power station 11 kilovolt current is generated, and this is, for your knowledge sake, this is a 50 Hertz frequency AC current that is generated in India. Now the first grid substation, the power coming from the power station is passed through the grid substation, where the voltage is stepped up, okay, from 11 volt to 132 kilovolt, from 11,000 to 132 kilovolt, and that higher voltage current is now used to carry the current through larger distance, thereby reducing the heat losses. Fine. Now this high voltage current is being passed, and it reaches some main substation. The main substation normally lies in industrial areas, okay. In those industrial areas, what is done is that this 132 kilovolt is stepped down to 33 kilovolt, and this 33 kilovolt is sent to the industries. These industries might use this high voltage rating current, or it might use its own substations to step down the current voltage further, okay. These are normally heavy stations which uses 33 kilovolt. After the main substation, what comes is known as the intermediate substation. This substation are where the voltage is toned down further from 33 kilovolt to 11 kilovolt, and the current is being sent to lighter industries. Industries where 33 kilovolt is not required, rather something similar to 11 kilovolt or close to it is required, and the industries, the light industries, will further take care to step it down further if required be. Now after the intermediate substation comes the city substation. This is where every city has a substation where the voltage is being stepped down from this 11 kilovolt to 220 volt. Now why 220 volt? Because 220 volt is the voltage rating at which all the electrical equipments that we use in our household is rated. So 220 volt is the standard voltage that is being used. So before supplying to the consumer, the end consumer, that is the household, the 11 kilovolt is stepped down at the city substations to 220 volt. Now this 220 volt, which is the voltage requirement of the electrical equipments at house, is being provided to the end consumer, that is the general public. Now as we have seen, from power generation to the whole transmission ending up in the consumer, the power is being carried through maybe thousands of kilometers, and therefore it is very, very important to take into account the heating losses, and as a result the need to step the voltage up to as high as 132 kilovolt. Fine. This gives you a rough idea about how the transmission of power works. Why do we step up the power voltage, and how do we step it down in steps at different substations. Okay, with this background, let us now see how is the power distribution in a house. Now that we know that we get electricity at 220 volts from the city substation, let's see the power distribution that is happening in a house. Okay, now the power that is coming through the substation has three wires. One is known as the live wire, or alternatively it is called the phase wire. Fine. Second is called neutral wire, and the third is called earth. Now the neutral and the earth are maintained at 0 volt. Why so? So that if accidentally someone touches them, then you do not encounter an electric shock. These both are maintained at 0 volt. But the live wire is the one which has higher voltage, that is 220 volt supply. Now normally these two, neutral and earth, are joined together and supplied via overhead cable, and the live wire, since it is live, needs to be passed through the fuse. What role does the fuse play? The fuse is normally a 50 ampere rating fuse which is provided before the electric meter. What does it do? Suppose that the electric supply for some reason becomes pretty high, that is it overshoots 50 ampere, which is supposed to be the amount of current that should be entering the household. Then the fuse, it will break down and the flow of current will stop here itself. So the current will no longer get inside the wiring of the house. Therefore the fuse is maintained on the live wire. If the fuse were maintained on the neutral or the earthing, then since the live wire would have been active, the whole system would have been at 220 volts rather than now, which is when it is at 0 volt. Therefore the fuse at live wire helps any overloading of the system. Now once we encounter the fuse, after that the whole system, the live, the neutral and the earthing, is passed through the meter. This is alternatively known as the kilowatt hour meter, because our electrical unit is kilowatt hour. Okay, now this kilowatt hour meter is grounded, and this is grounded at your home. Earthing is provided so that if there is some current leaking, then this earthing can provide safety against shocks. Fine. And this kilowatt hour meter will provide the reading of how much electricity is consumed by the complete household. Fine. After the current is passed through the meter, it goes through the main switch. This is the main switch. Okay, so here is our main switch, which can be maintained in switch off condition. When it is switch off, no electricity is supplied to the wiring of the house. Once it is switched on, that is, it is connected, then the whole system goes live and current starts flowing through this wire. Okay, and this live wire, this neutral and this electric wire are distributed and they pass through the electric devices individually, so that each device can run on its own. And every device ideally should have a fuse of its own, which will again, as we learned here, be attached to the live wire, so that in case of failure there is a complete shutdown of flow of electricity. Next we will see how exactly is the wiring done inside the house. Here I have just roughly shown you that their different equipments will have different connections, and as you can see, these connections are really parallel to each other, as in if this device fails completely, this is not going to hamper the working of this device. so they are parallel to each other. There are other advantages of parallel connection, but let's see that in our next discussion, how exactly the wiring is done inside the house. So this is a rough drawing of the ring system which is being followed for the wiring of the houses. It's called as ring system. As the diagram suggests, the name is because of its shape. What is happening is this is this location, right? So basically after the main switch, the live wire is coming here, the neutral is coming here, and the earthing is coming here. And there are three wirings, one for the live wire traversing the whole house, then the neutral traversing the whole house, and the earthing. Therefore these three wires are running parallel to each other. Now suppose we want to establish a point, let's say a bulb. Then what we'll do is that we'll extract current from here and we'll give the neutral from, take the neutral from here. As a result, what happens that this entity is independent of any other appliance that is already installed. Let's say there is a power point here which was installed beforehand, and some other appliance, let's say iron here, which was installed before. Then we can add any additional equipment independent of their existence. Now suppose we have these three and I want to add another bulb here, so I can just draw a wiring from here and the neutral from here, and then I can add another appliance here. Therefore what we see is, using this ring system, everything is independent of one another. Suppose that the bulb fuses here. If the bulb fuses, then that is not going to affect any other appliance or any other system, since the current is independent to flow from here, isn't it? If this was in series with the system, then breakdown of any one appliance would lead to complete shutdown of electric flow. That is not the case in this ring system, which is a parallel system. Okay, so we see some obvious advantages of ring system. One thing is that they are independent of each other. Second thing is that each appliance gets a 220 volt supply. Since they are parallel, they get the same voltage supply. If they were in series, then voltage drops would have been lesser than 220 volt depending on the rating of each appliance. Okay, then another advantage that we can say is that the ring system is quite neat system. That is, they can be easily arranged in the house and any number of power points can be taken from it. Also, since there are two wires live through which the electricity is coming into the system and neutral through which the electricity is going out of the system, what is happening is that there are actually two independent wires that is carrying current, and the current can flow from this direction as well as from this direction. So ultimately what is happening is that the wire thickness is kind of doubling if you think about it, because this current can flow through either direction, and that results in the current having actually twice the thickness available to travel. As a result, the resistance reduces, the wires become safer to operate. Okay, also here we can see that we can apply a resistance, rather a fuse for each individual appliance wherever required, and this fuse rating can be tuned depending on how much power rating is for that particular appliance. Okay, and from this discussion we can also see why the series connection would not be a good idea. There will be different potential drop across different appliances, and also breakdown of a single appliance can lead to complete breakdown of the system. Fine. So this gives you a rough idea about how the electric power is generated at the power station and transmitted through the overhead cables for long distance, and from substations it is brought down to lower voltage. At 220 volts it is supplied to the house in 3 wires. The live wire carrying the actual current, neutral and earth are the supporting things which are maintained at 0 voltage. Then how the ring system works in the house and why it is one of the best systems for wiring to be used in a house. With this background, I will close today's lecture. The next lecture we will see some of the equipments which are very essential part of the wiring system, like the fuse, the switch, the two-way switch, those things. So till the next class, have a great day. Goodbye.